Hello, welcome to BioGrade TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of François Bozizé Yangouvonda. Bozizé is a Central African politician who served as President of the Central African Republic from 2003 to 2013. He was born on the 14th of October 1946 in present-day Gabon. He was a member of the Baya people, also called Baya or Baya, a people of the western region of Central African Republic, East Central Cameroon, the north of the Republic of Congo, and the northwest of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Bozizé attended a military officers training college in the Central African province of Boa, a market town in the western Central African Republic. He became a second lieutenant in 1969 and a captain in 1975. In 1978, he was appointed brigadier general by the Emperor of Central Africa, Jean Bedel Bokassa, popularly called Bokassa I. After André Kolimba ousted Dako in September 1981, Bozizé was appointed Minister of Information but fled to the north of the country with 100 soldiers after his involvement in a failed coup attempt led by Henri Félix Patassé on the 3rd of March 1982. He was arrested in Cotonou, Benin in July 1989, imprisoned and tortured as well. Kolimba put him on trial on charges of aiding the coup d'etat in May. However, he was acquitted on the 24th of September 1991 and released from prison on the 1st of December of the same year. He then sought refuge in France where he remained for 2 years. Bozizé returned to the Central African Republic and ran for the 1992 presidential elections as an independent, receiving 12,159 votes, which was only 1.5% of the total votes cast. Patassé was elected president of the Central African Republic, and for many years he supported Patassé and helped him suppress army mutinies in 1996 and 1997. Bozizé was then named the Armed Forces Chief of Staff. All the while, Bozizé showed no sign of rebellion against Patassé and even crushed revolts that rose up against him. However, on the 28th of May 2001, there was a coup attempt against Patassé, and this made many question Bozizé's loyalty as he was suspected to have had a hand in it. In late October 2001, he was dismissed as Army Chief of Staff. There was an attempt to arrest him 5 days after. However, he escaped and fled to Chad. This did not stop the frequent riots between government forces and Bozizé's rebels, which lasted till 2002. On the 15th of March 2003, Bozizé finally succeeded in seizing power, with his forces entering Bangui unopposed. On that day, Patassé was returning from a meeting in Niger, but couldn't land because Bozizé's forces controlled the airport. Patassé took refuge in Cameroon and then Togo the following year. On the 23rd March that same year, Bozizé appointed Abel Gumba as Prime Minister. In December, he made Gumba Vice President and appointed Celestin Gombale in his place as Prime Minister. Bozizé also suspended the country's 1995 constitution, and a new constitution, reportedly similar to the previous one, got approved by voters in a referendum on the 5th of December 2004. On the 30th of December 2004, Bozizé was one of 5 candidates approved to run in the presidential election scheduled for early 2005. On the 4th of January 2005, he announced that 3 initially excluded candidates would be allowed to run, although former President Patassé was not included in either group, despite Patassé's interest. In late January, it was announced that more candidates would be permitted to run in the election, bringing the total to 11 and leaving only Patassé barred. The elections got delayed and were eventually held on the 13th of March. Bozizé won the elections and was sworn in on the 11th of June. In March 2010, Bozizé signed a presidential decree setting the date for the next presidential election as the 25th of April 2010. The elections were first postponed to the 16th of May and then indefinitely. The elections eventually took place in January and March 2011 and Bozizé won. On the 10th of December 2012, a coalition of opposition parties seized the towns of Ndele, Samouanja, and Ouada. On the 27th of December, Bozizé requested international assistance from France and the United States to combat the rebellion. However, his request was turned down. On the 11th of January 2013, a ceasefire agreement was signed in Libreville, Gabon, and the rebels demanded that Bozizé resign and that he should appoint a new prime minister from the opposition party by the 18th of January 2013. On the 13th of January, Bozizé signed a decree that removed Prime Minister Touadéra from power as part of the agreement with the rebel coalition, and on the 17th of January, he appointed Nicolas Tiangaye as Prime Minister. By the 22nd of March, the rebels, who were not pleased by Bozizé's part obedience, took over towns throughout the Central African Republic. 2 days after, the rebel forces heavily attacked Bangui and took over control of major structures, including the presidential palace. Bozizé's family fled across the river to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and then to Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon, where he was granted temporary refuge. Subsequently, he requested that Benin grant him political asylum. He was married to Monique Bozizé. There was an announcement on the 10th of August 2015 that Bozizé would return to the country and stand as a candidate in the October 2015 presidential election. On the 8th of December 2015, the Constitutional Court announced the list of approved presidential candidates, and Bozizé, who was still in exile, was not among them. His supporters reacted violently. However, it was eventually settled peacefully, although he still didn't get to participate in the election. What have we missed out of this biography of Bozizé? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.